Hi everyone. First and foremost, thanks for joining our today's session, and we really appreciate your interest in getting our insights in regards to waterfall versus header bidding. So let me quickly introduce myself for those who don't know me personally yet. My name is Steph, and I'm business development team lead at Smaato, mainly focused on supply side and responsible for publisher partnerships. I've been in the edtech industry for the last 7 years of my life, and I'm really delighted to host our session as a speaker today. Also, please meet Ahmed, our senior mobile product manager, who is going to moderate the webinar and share some useful insights from the product perspective. Ahmed, feel free to say hi to everyone.
Hello, hi everyone, nice to meet you all. Thanks for attending.
Awesome. So let's move on and discuss the agenda. In this presentation, we will start with a short introduction about Smaato being a part of Verve Group and our main pillars. Then we'll take a dive deep into the basics and discuss the header bidding, what header bidding and waterfall are and how they differ from each other. We will also investigate header bidding itself and make a quick overview about its types, advantages, disadvantages, existing solutions, and of course, impact on the edtech industry on both demand and supply sides. Of course, at the end, we'll make some time for a Q&A session where we'll be happy to answer to all your questions. This session, once again, will be recorded and we'll send it to you after the webinar. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to type them again in Q&A session. Awesome. Let's move on. So, as you might be aware, Smaato is a part of Verve Group. Verve Group is an ecosystem of supply and demand side technologies fusing data, media, and technology together to serve advertisers and publishers, no matter who, what, or where a customer is. We have extensive experience within the gaming sector, working with game publishers and brands to meet the needs of stakeholders connected with them. Our parent company, MGI, owns owned and operated publishers and advertisers as well. For sure, you've heard about them. Let me name some of them: Gamiga Group, Wild Tangent Games, King Cecil, making it possible for us to better understand our partners' pains and needs and helping us to address and meet them more effectively. So Smaato itself is an independent business asset of Verve Group and an omni-channel format-agnostic self-serve digital edtech platform. From the product perspective, we are an SSP plus ad exchange with global footprints and inbuilt mixed demand. So let's quickly discuss each of our pillars. Omni-channel and agnostic. At Smaato, we think about omni-channel and agnostic inventory and the ad formats that work best in each channel. That means we support all inventory types, in-app, web, CTV, ad sizes, operational systems, revenue models, as well as all ad formats. On this slide, you can see some examples: banners, interstitials, rewarded video, splash ads, native, outstream video, in-stream video. Smaato's advertising technology platform is designed to create a seamless, tailored, and customized experience for our publishers and advertisers. We are no longer a display-only company, and we have currently a high demand for video inventory across the globe respectively. That's leading us to the next pillar, global reach. Smaato handles over 1.1 trillion ad requests from 1.3 billion unique users worldwide each month. When you have these many ad requests, you can see that our top geographies are where you would expect them, meaning US, Canada, Latam, Germany, even Indonesia, one of the world's largest media markets. But we pride ourselves on localizing content for where publishers want and need to be seen. We do have their competitive eCPMs and fill rates, not only for display, banners, rich media, native, but also for rewarded video and interstitial specifically, as video becomes primary focus for many of our inbuilt demand partners. As you might know, we were previously known as a top branded SSP. However, we diversified our stack with mixed demand or industry acknowledged DSPs, ad networks, direct advertisers across all peers currently: brands, performance, user acquisition, retargeting, location, data. That makes it possible for us to run a hybrid buying model, meaning that an open marketplace is combined with prepackaged deals. So our top demand partners receive from the very beginning supply verticals which they are only interested in. At the same time, by means of our newly created direct sales team in US, Germany, and Indonesia, we explore the possibility of arranging more frequent PMPs and PGs with our partners. And finally, we value and care about creating a trusted marketplace for our both demand and supply partners. We combine human expertise with sophisticated technology of human ISC geo-edge to protect the media investments from fraudulent activities. At the same time, we do have internal blocking tools based on URLs, bundles, ad category, creative type, and advertiser name available. So actually, it gives us all the controls for both publishers and marketers across inventory, audience, and revenue. So that's shortly about us. Now let's move on and discuss the existing monetization techniques, waterfall versus header bidding. According to Statista, the adoption of header bidding across top web publishers is increasing year over year. More and more web publishers are moving towards header bidding, leaving waterfall in the past. But you would ask me, what's the difference between them? Before header bidding, the programmatic ecosystem was using a waterfall setup to sell inventory. Waterfall setup, also known as daisy chaining, involves a ladder of networks and/or ad exchanges arranged from top to bottom in order of performance to the publisher. So this performance is actually based on the past records in terms of eCPM, fill rate, latency, and many other metrics. The impression in this case is passed from network to network from the top bottom in the sequential order until it's finally sold out. So in this case, whoever is first to bid above the floor wins. The problem here, however, is that advertisers further down the waterfall hierarchy may have been willing to bid higher than the winning bid, but they didn't get a chance to do it. So as a result, you can imagine that publisher missed out on this revenue and advertiser missed out on the placements. Let's think about it in figurative way. It's like offering a bag of apples, let's say to 5 different people, one after another, lowering the price whenever someone rejects the apples. Eventually, someone might say yes because of the bargain, right? But that isn't how you get the best price for your apples. So furthermore, it gives the impression that you are selling some kind of low-grade apples or apples that many people already rejected. So that's where actually header bidding comes in and enables multiple ad exchanges to bid on the same inventory simultaneously. Thus, the highest bid wins. This process happens in real time in the header of the web page as the content is loading, hence the name is header. Sweet and short, the browser generates an individual bid request to all demand partners every time an impression is available. Thus, this method flattens the waterfall and lets publishers know exactly what each advertiser is willing to bid before the publisher calls its ad server. As a result, publishers can maximize revenue and advertisers cement better exposure for their brand. When we come back to our example with apples here, it's like offering every single apple from your bag to the crowd of people simultaneously, naming the lowest possible price and auctioning on getting the highest ones. You are happy as you get better revenue in this case, and people are happy as they compete equally on getting every apple in a transparent and fair way. So let's run a short real-time poll right now. What monetization technique do you prefer? So I think we are good with basics, and it's time to dive deeper and get to the bottom of differences between header bidding and waterfall. Of course, waterfall is a matter of prioritization for publishers, as they must place from top to bottom at networks or at exchanges based on their past record, and at the same time, it's a subject to limitation for advertisers who can't tap to the best inventory to bid on. Even though this process theoretically ensured that no inventory was left unsold and fetched the publisher the best price it could, in reality, the opposite happened. It's actually an inefficient way of selling inventory for publishers, specifically for web ones, I would like to highlight here, as it's a time-taking process to sell the inventory that is passed from bidder to bidder, during which publishers usually get, but not always, get less bang of the buck, as they are not receiving the true value for their impressions. At the same time, advertisers face, in this case, unfair competition, as they are not getting a fair chance to compete for every single impression and reach the right audiences, as waterfall setup is not equipped with targeting. However, the waterfall technique is still predominant for in-app publishers. I know that there are a lot of in-app publishers who join our webinar today, as we know that many ad networks are sending 0 currently in the bid request as a floor price. And if dynamic floor pricing based on the AI algorithms in this case is not available, so it usually leads to the inability of demand partners to bid on the inventory with the relevant price. And as a result, as you know, it decreases the chances to win in the downstream auction or main auction on the ad server. So header bidding is, on the contrary, a matter of control for publishers who can set floor pricing or block specific creatives, domains, categories, and a subject with no constraints for advertisers who can bid in a fair competition on every single impression. It's real-time process of selling the inventory, mainly happening within 200–400 milliseconds, which gives the publisher the chance to maximize the revenue generated from their impressions, considering that all bidders simultaneously compete for the inventory based on the first price auction model. So for those who don't remember, first price auction means that the highest bid wins. Also, there is second price auction known in the market. In this case, the second highest bid plus 10 cents wins. Moreover, based on the bids submitted, publishers can compare the performance of each auction using log-level data and work on tweaks for greater yield, while advertisers can set, in this case, targeting parameters. Let's say geo, gender, age, and etc., and match as a result the right audiences. In-app case, again, technically we can say that there is no header, right? But the bidding mechanisms run in the same way. So without any doubts, we can say that header bidding looks more attractive for publishers, especially web ones, as for advertisers. Let's move on and see which types of header bidding exist and how they work. Okay, so we can say that header bidding can be broadly classified into 2 types: client side and server side. In the first case, the auction runs on the user's browser and allows cookie matching for better targeting, as advertisers have access to bid level data. However, it often causes high page latency. We know this specifically for web publishers due to higher browser resources and network consumption. In the second case, the auction is conducted on a dedicated auction server. It saves network bandwidth and browser resources, decreasing page latency respectively. However, there is also one more problem, that header bidding server side often fails to deliver the desired targeting results due to decreased cookie matching rates. It's not, of course, for now the case for pre-bid. As we see, both header bidding types have their own crucial disadvantages, and therefore hybrid header bidding type was created. So this is where publishers can actually run both client-side and server-side header bidding together, usually within a multivariative testing environment. So based on the above mentioned comparison between waterfall and header bidding, as well as header bidding classification, we can sum up pros and cons of it. So client-side header bidding can be considered as more challenging option because in this case, publishers need to either host their own server to run the auction or to pay for a third-party hosted server. Both options require an investment, of course, and in this case, it presupposes also a tricky setup for publishers who need to choose the right wrapper and integrate codes or snippets of multiple demand partners. Thus, the upfront cost for employing a dedicated person or sometimes even a team to monitor and improve performance on the publisher side appears. At the same time, managing multiple codes in the monetization stack as well as its actual bidding process cause high page latency, which can be hardly resolved at the cost of cookie matching. The list of header bidding pros actually is much wider. So for publishers, it allows to add multiple demand partners and increase competition, as well as improve revenue, meaning get higher eCPMs and reduce the discrepancy. Because we know that fewer moving parts mean less discrepancy. It also grants access into advanced reporting and analytics to monitor earnings and performance. On the bid level, as well, it gives an opportunity to configure the auction as per their needs. I mean, in this case, customize the floor price, set specific timeouts, add or remove demand partners. For advertisers, it ensures transparency and low discrepancy that encourages advertisers to invest equally in header bidding. So that's quickly about pros and cons of header bidding. Now let's move on and run the next poll. In your opinion, what is the best header bidding solution? So let's make a short overview on the existing examples of header bidding solutions, right? So first and foremost, I would like to mention pre-bid, or an open source option for header bidding where the winning bid from the header auction then wins the chance to compete on the mainnet server auction. So it falls into pre-bid.js for mobile web and desktop web inventory, for pre-bid mobile for in-app inventory, and pre-bid server relevant for all these types of the inventory, including OTT or CTV. Shortly after the massive success of header bidding, Google launched its own server-side version and named it Exchange Bidding Dynamic Allocation. So further, it was renamed to Open Bidding. It's easy to set up and time-saving for publishers as Google takes care of everything from the setup to ongoing auction management. With Open Bidding, Google allowed publishers to bring their own demand and use Google Demand or AdX to run server-to-server auctions on Google Ad Manager, or also well known as GAM. Amazon offers server-side versions of header bidding for small to medium-sized publishers, also known as Unified Amazon Marketplace, and large publishers, TAM or Trusted Amazon Marketplace. In the first case, it allows publishers to bring in their own demand and integrate it into their website, while in the second case, they have additional access to Amazon's demand partners. Last but not the least, Smaato has also its own header bidding solution called Unified Bidding. It's a part of our next-gen SDK. It's Smaato own inbuilt in-app header bidding solution that works usually with Smaato as a primary ad server, or if publisher has, for example, proprietary ad server, as well as with GAM as a primary ad server with pre-bid mobile configuration to have some sort of keyword targeting where the winning bid from pre-bid auction gets channeled into the primary ad server as a keyword. So actually this bid then becomes floor for the main auction. So let's move on and have a look into these solutions more schematically. So Prebid.js was launched in 2015 as a client-side header bidding solution. So on the right corner of the slide, you can see that using Prebid's open source code, the publisher first hosts a Prebid auction for display and video ads on their site. Then the winning bid gets to bid in the publisher's main ad server auction, or also known as downstream auction. So actually that's it. The mechanics is pretty simple here. Prebid Mobile is the in-app version of Prebid.js, while Prebid Server is an extension to Prebid.js wrapper, where Prebid offers a code to integrate all publishers' demand partner bids via both client and server-side setup. Let's go to the next slide, please, and see how open bidding works. So in this case, once an impression is available, ad requests are sent to Google AdX and header bidding. Within the AdX system, both AdX and open bidding buyers place their bids to win the impression. So meanwhile, header bidding starts collecting bid responses from its demand partners. Upon competition, AdX and open bidding pass on their winner. So similarly, header bidding passes on another. Finally, GAM compares these bids and chooses the winner, meaning highest bid. Now let's have a look at Amazon solution. So I can say that the mechanics are pretty much similar to the GAMs. On this slide, you can see how publishers use TAM specifically. They also often combine these solutions, for example, with open bidding or pre-bid, running them in parallel in order to achieve the highest results. And let's quickly look through the Smaato's unified bidding solution. So you can see actually on this slide how it works in general. Just to describe it in simple words, the winning bid here from header bidding is passed next on the primary ad server and challenged here. So you will ask me like, why we need this? So actually, usually it brings higher competition and also additional value. Let's move on and quickly see the integration options that right now available in terms of Smaato across in-app, web, and CTV. So when it comes to in-app, we do prefer, of course, integrating via SDK, either via Max, ironSource, and AdMob, or via Smaato and proprietary ad server. On Max and AdMob or GAM, we currently support both waterfall and bidding, open bidding for GAM, with all ad formats available. On Iron Source, we officially released banners for level play, and we are in the beta testing of interstitials and rewarded video. We also have pre-bid, add vast text, and TAM as an option here. On the mobile website, we can say that that's pretty much the same as you see. Additionally, we offer a possibility to integrate here via API or OpenRTB. And on the CTV side, we can integrate also via different types of vast text via OpenRTB, as well as pre-bid server adapters. On the pre-bid server adapter side, we support Publica and SprintServe header bidding. So you would ask me, so what in this case? We can say that with traditional waterfalls, inventory can be snapped up in huge ad exchanges. So header bidding solutions help us to level the playing field, giving everyone an opportunity to bid. Publishers have an opportunity to increase the revenue in this case, and marketers get an opportunity to bid on premium inventory they might not otherwise get to see. Pre-bid currently has around 20% of market share in the US, followed by A9 or 10, 15%, and Index Exchange 10%. So it continues to grow, and we do see this tendency on our side as well. In-app header bidding grew 26% year over year. So to sum up, we can say that header bidding can be considered as a yardstick for specifically web publishers, and it's definitely a revenue streaming source with transparent and real-time auction between marketers and advertisers. So thank you for your attention. Happy to answer to all your questions in Q&A session. Ahmed, feel free to moderate it.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Stafaniya. It was really insightful. So I will, we'll see a few questions. I will take the first one, so you can take a break.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, so the first one is, do we currently, or do you currently support video for in-app as well? So yes, we do support video for in-app. Basically, we did a lot of improvement, a lot of investment on the product side regarding full screen formats as a whole. By full screen format, I mean interstitial, video interstitial, display, rewarded video. So we started by improving the aspect ratio of the rendering part. We also improved the look and feel, let's say. We added the progress bar for video. We also support the SK overlay globally on video and on display as well, that boosts CPI campaigns. We're also adding, for example, improving, like supporting MRED standard, which is very basic, but we're also improving it by adding, for example, use custom close for the MRED, so we will not have two close buttons at the same screen. We're also supporting SK network v3, v4, which are now becoming more and more adopted by mainly the scan v4 adopted by the DSPs. We are focusing really here on the performing DSP currently and the full screen placement. So yeah, that's the so yeah, definitely we are supporting this as well. Also, another question regarding to take advantage from all those features. Yes, we need to have the latest SDK version, where now we are at version 22.02 and 03, respectively, on iOS and Android. So yeah, please take the latest version, and yeah, and take advantage from those. All right, second question third question already for you, Stafaniya, is: would you suggest for in-app publisher using waterfall or bidding?
Okay, that's a very good question. And I believe I've been asked this question pretty frequently by our partners. So for now, I would say that in-app bidding is not fully adjusted to the demand. And unfortunately, and a lot of demand partners used to work on the traditional model, meaning to receive specific floor in ad request, right? So what happens with current bidding algorithms, specifically in-app, is that 0 is sent as a floor price. And it leads to the fact that demand partners, they actually don't know how high they should bid for a specific type of inventory. And as a result, very often we see that our demand partners bid, but then they lose in the downstream auction. And as a result, we are seeing like lower win rate and so on and so forth. So of course, in this case, I think the future would be for bidding. So I think that bidding will prevail in the future. But of course, we at networks need to do some adjustments in this case. For example, implement some kind of algorithms with dynamic floor pricing so that based on the machine learning and AI, our system knows what kind of floor can be set for specific inventory based on the past record, right? This is something that we are working on, and I know that many other networks also would love to implement this kind of strategy and this kind of mechanisms. But for now, unfortunately, we do ask our partners to still go with waterfall. Of course, in this case, there is a specific setup. Sometimes we need to create a lot of ad spaces. We do understand this, but from our side, we usually give all our publishers all the support needed. So meaning that we have implementation specialists in place. They create all the ad spaces. We just ask publishers to share their waterfall split up so that we can recommend where Smaato can be placed based on our analytical system and of course on specific split. So we check the numbers, check eCPM based on geo, operational system, application category, ad format, and so on and so forth. So this is how we currently try to address the problem connected with in-app bidding. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ahmed, or if you have any additional notes, remarks here.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So yeah, well done, well answered. I will take the next question for you, Stafaniya. So question is, do you have any actual case studies of header bidding being better than waterfall setup? It's what you described, but maybe, yeah.
So I can say that we need to split here different channels, right? So we have 3 channels. We have web, we have in-app, and CTV. So in regards to in-app channel, I can say that it really depends on the category of application. Category of application plays a big role here. We do have some examples when, for example, partners in transport category or travel category have better performance in case of in-app bidding. We do have such examples. But I would say that currently in about 85% of cases, still waterfall performs better, specifically for gaming publishers. So I would say that it really depends on the audience, on the application, on the formats, right? So we need to consider all these factors here. When it comes to web, to be honest, I'm not sure whether anyone still using AdText or Yardstick for waterfall setup to integrate for web. I think this channel is predominantly currently managed by header bidding solutions, right? So our publishers mainly, from my knowledge, use either open bidding or TAM or pre-bid in many cases. And also sometimes they would like to mix all these solutions, right? And to see what would perform better. So in pre-bid case, of course, we know that partners would like firstly to see what kind of performance we'll have on open bidding and TAM, and then to integrate us to pre-bid. But to be honest, that's not always the right way, I would say, to move forward, right? Sometimes it really would be great. It would be really great if we can get a try from the very beginning on the pre-bid setup, because this is where we can show our all potential. This is where we have all demand partners included, right? And this is where at least we have some chance to do the optimization, right? And to play a little bit with floors, with targeting, right? And as well as to organize some kind of PMPs for our partners, if that's possible. In CTV channel, I would say that both FAST plus header bidding solutions work pretty well at the moment. But I think that this also would change in the future.
Yeah, you also mentioned, thanks, Stefan. You also mentioned a question about PMP. We have a question about this. So yeah, how does it work? PMPs.
So PMPs, yeah.
Yes.
So if we talk about web, let's say, usually PMP means private marketplace. So in this case, we connect one publisher, let's say, with 3 DSPs that compete for the inventory. And this technology is organized by means of TLID. So we just create and pass TLID, and then the DSPs compete for the inventory. Of course, in this case, we cannot guarantee that inventory would be fully sold out, right? But at least we know on the pre-negotiated basis what kind of volumes our advertisers are looking for, what kind of GS, and what kind of eCPMs can be achieved, right? And our publishers can get from PMPs. So this is more, I would say, pre-negotiated basis, where we discuss together with publishers and advertisers whether there is any kind of interest, whether this publisher is relevant for a specific campaign, and many, many other things, right? Okay. So there is also one more way called programmatic guaranteed, and this is towards what we are moving. In this case, the only difference is that one publisher is connected with one DSP or one advertiser, and on the pre-negotiated basis, the specific volumes are fully sold out. So in this case, it's guaranteed that the specific inventory at placements will be sold out. I would say that publishers, currently specifically web ones, organize some kind of internal waterfall, meaning that they start with selling the inventory via PG, then they go under PMP, and then what's left goes to OMP or open market.
Okay. Thanks, Stefania. So we have one last question before we will be sharing the pool results. Question is, what are the requirements to become a publisher? I guess a publisher on Smaato side.
I think there are no requirements. To be honest, the only requirement is that you need to have, of course, inventory that you would like to monetize with us. Other than that, we'll be happy to suggest what kind of ad formats would work better for you, right? We'll be happy to suggest what kind of integration could be more effective for you, right? And move towards the optimization steps and everything that is connected with your yield management. So no requirements, only inventory and desire to work with us.
Nice, perfect. Right, so I think we will be sharing the pool results, and then we'll be done. Okay.
Okay. So in the first poll, which monetization technique are you using? Waterfall is only 3%, and the majority have chosen header bidding, 53%, and also mix of both waterfall and header bidding, 44%. I would say that the results are expected to me. Ahmed, what about you?
Yeah, this is honestly, this is what I am also discussing with publisher during my meetings with many of our publisher, like, let's say majority, or I think this is really reflect the reality. It means that there is transition from full waterfall to test both, and then to move to fully to header bidding. So we are seeing this movement. So still publishers are testing both to see how things are going. That's the both side. But I think if we did the same survey or the same poll, I think in a quarter from now we will see less both and more header bidding growing. So I think that's the sense of the history.
Awesome. So this is poll number 1. Let's see poll number 2. Okay. In your opinion, what is the best header bidding solution? And we have here single choice and different options. Number 1, GAM open bidding took 14%, TAM 17%, pre-bid JS 14%, mixture open bidding plus pre-bid 34%, TAM plus pre-bid 14%, none of them 0, and other 7%. Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting. For me, it's interesting. Other. Who replied other? If you're still here, would love to know what kind of other header bidding solution here. For the mixtures, I
Maybe
think that
homemade ones.
Yeah. For the mixtures, I would say that's frequently met on our site, right? So we frequently face that publishers use both open bidding plus pre-bid or TAM plus pre-bid, right, to achieve great results here.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So I think that we are good here. And we can finish our webinar. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining it. If you have any more questions to me or to Ahmed, or you need any kind of help, because I know that there are a lot of people who are working already with us, feel free to reach out. We'll be always happy to connect and to chat. And I would like to finish the webinar with our motto: solving complexity with simplicity, right? So this is something towards which we are moving. And thank you so much, guys. Appreciate your joining. Have a nice day, and we'll definitely keep in touch. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, everyone.